Media critics have called David Muir, the 40-something steady newsman, the one to watch.
In a bombshell announcement, David Muir, the trusted anchor of ABC World News Tonight, is leaving the network. His departure has shocked the industry and raised questions about the future of broadcast news in the digital age. Join us as we explore Muir's legacy and what his exit means for journalism. David Muir's career at ABC. David Muir's journey at ABC began in 2003, when he joined the network as an anchor for the overnight news program World News Now. From there, he quickly made a name for himself as a talented reporter and storyteller, covering everything from natural disasters to political campaigns. In 2014, Muir took over as the anchor of ABC World News Tonight, succeeding Diane Sawyer and becoming the face of the network's flagship news program. Under Muir's leadership, World News Tonight soared in the ratings, often outpacing its competitors and cementing its place as the most-watched evening newscast in the United States. Muir's ability to connect with viewers, his skill at breaking down complex stories, and his tireless work ethic all contributed to the program's success. He became known for his on-the-ground reporting from the front lines of breaking news stories, whether it was the devastating aftermath of a hurricane or the chaos of a war zone. Throughout his tenure, Muir covered some of the biggest stories of our time, from the COVID-19 pandemic to the 2020 presidential election. His interviews with world leaders and newsmakers helped shape the public's understanding of these events, and his calm, measured approach in times of crisis became a hallmark of his broadcasting style. But Muir's impact at ABC extended far beyond the ratings. He became a symbol of the network's commitment to serious, in-depth journalism, and his presence at the helm of World News Tonight helped define ABC's brand identity. He was more than just an anchor. He was a trusted voice and a familiar face that viewers could rely on to guide them through an often chaotic news cycle. As we look back on David Muir's remarkable career at ABC, it's clear that his contributions to the network and to the broader field of journalism cannot be overstated. His departure leaves big shoes to fill and raises questions about what the future holds for ABC News in a rapidly changing media landscape. Reasons behind David Muir's departure. Since the announcement of David Muir's departure from ABC, there has been widespread speculation about the reasons behind his decision. Some have suggested that Muir may be seeking new challenges and opportunities beyond the confines of a traditional broadcast news setting. In an industry that is increasingly dominated by digital platforms and social media, Muir may feel that it's time to adapt and explore new ways of reaching audiences. Others have pointed to broader industry trends as a potential factor in Muir's decision. In recent years, traditional broadcast news has been facing stiff competition from online news sources and streaming platforms, which offer viewers more choice and flexibility in how they consume news. With younger audiences increasingly turning to digital platforms for their news, Muir may see this as an opportune moment to make a change and position himself for the future. There is also the possibility that Muir is looking for greater creative freedom and control over his work. As the anchor of a major network news program, Muir is bound by certain constraints and expectations that come with the job. By stepping away from ABC, he may be seeking to create his own content and pursue projects that align more closely with his personal interests and passions. So what's next for David Muir? The possibilities are endless, but some have speculated that he could be eyeing a move to a competing network, where he could take on a new role and bring his loyal fan base with him. Others have suggested that Muir may be interested in launching his own media venture, perhaps a digital news platform or a production company that creates long-form documentaries or investigative reports. There is also the potential for Muir to explore non-traditional media avenues, such as podcasting or streaming. With the rise of platforms like Netflix and Amazon Prime, there is a growing demand for high-quality, original content that can be consumed on demand. Muir's skills as a storyteller and his ability to connect with audiences could make him a natural fit for this type of media. Regardless of where David Muir ends up next, It's clear that his departure from ABC marks a significant moment in the news industry. As we wait to see what the future holds for one of America's most respected journalists, we can't help but reflect on the changing nature of news consumption and the challenges and opportunities that lie ahead for those in the field. Implications for ABC News. The departure of David Muir from ABC World News Tonight is not just a loss for the network, but a major shakeup that could have far-reaching implications for the future of ABC News. The first and most immediate challenge facing the network is finding a suitable replacement for Muir, someone who can step into his role and maintain the program's rating success and journalistic standards. But finding a new anchor is only part of the equation. Muir's departure also raises questions about the direction and format of World News Tonight going forward. Will the program stick to its traditional formula, or will it use this moment as an opportunity to innovate and experiment with new approaches to news delivery? One possibility is that ABC could use this transition period to incorporate more digital elements and interactive features into the broadcast. With viewers increasingly consuming news on their smartphones and tablets, there's a growing demand for content that is optimized for these platforms. This could mean creating shorter, more visual segments that are easy to share on social media, or developing interactive graphics and data visualizations that allow viewers to explore stories in greater depth. Another potential change could be a shift towards more live, breaking news coverage. In an age where news is constantly breaking on social media and other online platforms, there is pressure on traditional broadcasters to keep up and provide real-time updates to their audiences. ABC could use this moment to invest in its live news capabilities, perhaps by expanding its network of correspondents and bureaus around the world. But innovation and experimentation also come with risks. One of the strengths of World News Tonight under Muir's leadership has been its consistency and reliability. Viewers tune in each night knowing what to expect: a well-crafted, informative newscast that covers the day's top stories with depth and context. Any major changes to the format or tone of the program could alienate longtime viewers and disrupt the trust and loyalty that Muir has built over the years. There is also the question of how Muir's departure will impact the broader culture and dynamics within the ABC newsroom. As the face of the network's flagship news program, Muir was not just an anchor, but a leader and a mentor to many of his colleagues. His absence could create a power vacuum and lead to some uncertainty and jockeying for position among other ABC News talents. At the same time, Muir's departure could also create opportunities for new voices and perspectives to emerge within the organization. ABC has a deep bench of talented reporters and anchors, and this moment could be a chance for some of them to step up and take on greater responsibilities. It could also be an opportunity for the network to bring in fresh talent from outside the organization, perhaps by hiring a more diverse group of journalists who can bring new ideas and approaches to the table. Ultimately, the implications of David Muir's departure from ABC News will depend on how the network chooses to respond to this moment of transition. Will it use this as an opportunity to innovate and evolve, or will it stick to the tried-and-true formulas that have worked in the past? Only time will tell, but one thing is certain: the ripple effects of Muir's exit will be felt throughout the ABC News organization and the broader news industry for years to come. Broader implications for the news industry. The news of David Muir's departure from ABC World News Tonight has sent ripples far beyond the walls of the ABC newsroom. In many ways, Muir's decision to step away from his anchor role is a reflection of the larger shifts and challenges facing the news industry as a whole. One of the biggest changes in recent years has been the decline of traditional broadcast news and the rise of digital platforms. With more and more viewers turning to online sources for their news, networks like ABC have been forced to adapt and find new ways to reach audiences. This has led to a growing emphasis on digital content, social media engagement, and mobile optimization, as well as a rethinking of the traditional role of the news anchor. In the past, anchors like Muir were seen as the authoritative voices of the news, the trusted faces that viewers turned to for information and guidance. But in today's fragmented media landscape, the role of the anchor is evolving. Viewers are increasingly looking for personalities and voices that they can relate to, and they are more likely to seek out news sources that align with their own beliefs and perspectives. This shift has led to a growing tension within the news industry between the need for objectivity and impartiality and the desire to build a loyal audience and stand out in a crowded marketplace. Some news organizations have responded by embracing a more opinionated or partisan approach, while others have sought to maintain a more neutral stance while still finding ways to connect with viewers on a personal level. For Muir and other anchors of his generation, this changing landscape presents both challenges and opportunities. On one hand, the fragmentation of the media has made it harder than ever to reach a mass audience and have the kind of broad impact that anchors like Walter Cronkite and Tom Brokaw once had. On the other hand, the rise of digital platforms has created new avenues for journalists to build their own brands and connect with audiences in more direct and personal ways. As the news industry continues to evolve, it will be increasingly important for journalists to be adaptable and open to new ways of telling stories and engaging with viewers. This may mean embracing new technologies and platforms, experimenting with new formats and storytelling techniques, and finding ways to build trust and credibility with audiences who are increasingly skeptical of traditional media. It will also be important for journalism schools and training programs to keep pace with these changes and prepare the next generation of journalists for the challenges and opportunities ahead. This may mean placing a greater emphasis on digital skills, data analysis, and entrepreneurship, as well as teaching students how to navigate the complex ethical and editorial challenges that come with working in a rapidly changing media landscape. Ultimately, the broader implications of David Muir's departure from ABC News are still unfolding, and it will take time to see how the industry responds and adapts to this moment of transition. But one thing is clear: the news business is at a crossroads, and the choices that journalists and news organizations make in the coming years will have a profound impact on the future of democracy and the role of the media in our society. As we reflect on Muir's legacy and the challenges ahead, it's worth remembering the words of another legendary journalist, Edward R. Murrow, who once said, "To be persuasive, we must be believable. To be believable, we must be credible. To be credible, we must be truthful." In an age of fake news, misinformation, and declining trust in the media, those words have never been more important. And as the news industry seeks to find its way forward, it will be up to journalists like David Muir to lead the way and show us what it means to be a credible, truthful voice in a world that desperately needs it. David Muir's impact and legacy. As we reflect on David Muir's departure from ABC World News tonight, it's worth taking a moment to consider the impact and legacy he leaves behind. Over the course of his tenure as anchor, Muir not only informed and educated millions of viewers, but also helped to shape the public discourse around some of the most important issues of our time. Through his reporting on everything from natural disasters to political scandals, Muir brought a sense of clarity, compassion, and context to complex and often emotional stories. He had a unique ability to connect with viewers on a personal level, to make them feel heard and understood, even as he challenged them to think more deeply about the world around them. But Muir's impact extended far beyond the stories he covered on air. Behind the scenes, he was a mentor and a leader to many of his colleagues at ABC News, setting an example of professionalism, integrity, and dedication to the craft of journalism. He was known for his tireless work ethic, his attention to detail, and his commitment to getting the story right, no matter what it took. In many ways, Muir's legacy is one of trust and credibility in an age of uncertainty and misinformation. At a time when many Americans are losing faith in traditional media, Muir remained a beacon of hope and a symbol of what journalism can and should be. His departure leaves a void that will be difficult to fill, but it also creates an opportunity for others to step up and carry on his work. As we say goodbye to David Muir, we are reminded of the power and responsibility that comes with being a journalist in today's world. It is a calling that requires not just talent and skill, but also courage, empathy, and a deep sense of purpose. And while the future of the news industry may be uncertain, one thing is clear: the legacy of David Muir will continue to inspire and guide us as we navigate the challenges and opportunities ahead. The potential for new voices and perspectives. While David Muir's departure from ABC World News Tonight is undoubtedly a loss for the network and the news industry as a whole, it also creates an exciting opportunity for new voices and perspectives to emerge. For too long, the world of broadcast journalism has been dominated by a narrow range of voices and experiences, often failing to reflect the diversity and complexity of the audiences it serves. But as the media landscape continues to evolve and fragment, there is a growing recognition of the need for more diverse and inclusive storytelling. This means not just hiring more journalists from underrepresented backgrounds, but also creating space for new ideas, approaches, and perspectives to flourish. In the wake of Muir's departure, ABC News has a chance to lead the way in this regard, by seeking out and amplifying voices that have traditionally been marginalized or overlooked. This could mean bringing in new talent from outside the traditional pipeline, experimenting with new formats and platforms, and creating opportunities for collaboration and cross-pollination across different parts of the organization. Ultimately, the potential for new voices and perspectives in the news industry is not just a matter of fairness and representation, but also a key to building trust and credibility with audiences in an increasingly complex and divided world. By embracing diversity and inclusion both on and off camera, news organizations like ABC can help to create a media landscape that is more reflective, more responsive, and more relevant to the needs and concerns of all Americans. As we've seen throughout this video, David Muir's shocking decision to leave ABC World News Tonight is not just a personal career move, but a reflection of the larger changes and challenges facing the news industry today. Muir's departure marks the end of an era for ABC News and leaves big questions about what the future holds for the network and its flagship news program. But beyond ABC, Muir's exit is also a symptom of the broader shifts happening in the way we consume and produce news in the digital age. With audiences increasingly fragmented and skeptical, and with new technologies and platforms constantly emerging, journalists and news organizations are being forced to adapt and evolve in order to stay relevant and trusted. For Muir, this moment represents both an ending and a new beginning. After years of delivering the news to millions of Americans each night, he now has the opportunity to explore new avenues and pursue his own passions and interests. Whether he chooses to launch his own media venture, join a competing network, or take a break from the spotlight altogether, there is no doubt that he will continue to be a major force in the world of journalism. As for the news industry itself, the challenges ahead are daunting but not insurmountable. By embracing innovation, experimentation, and a commitment to truth and accuracy, journalists and news organizations can continue to play a vital role in our democracy and in shaping the public discourse. But it will require a willingness to take risks, to think outside the box, and to put the needs of the audience first. In the end, the story of David Muir and ABC News is a reminder of the power and importance of journalism in our society. It is a calling that requires dedication, integrity, and a deep sense of responsibility to the truth. And as we move forward into an uncertain future, it will be up to all of us, journalists, news organizations, and audiences alike, to work together to ensure that the news remains a vital and trusted part of our lives.